What is going on, guys? This is Secure, and today we're going to be going over the new Apex character, Krypto. Now, Krypto is just the latest character to be added to the Apex Legends cast, and he is a force to be reckoned with in the right hands. Being, in my opinion, a better version of Bloodhound, Krypto has a lot of potential and it's going to make strategy a bigger part of Apex in the future. So without further ado, let's get into Krypto, his abilities, and the best way to use him. First, we'll start with Krypto's abilities. First, let's start with Krypto's passive ability, which is Neurolink. Now, what Neurolink means is that anything that your drone sees will be outlined, like enemies through walls, and they'll be outlined for a short time or unless they get out of the sight of this drone. Now, this is going to come in handy, especially when you learn how to use the drone properly, but there are also small quirks that he has that aren't mentioned in his gameplay trailers. For example, you know those banners that have champion squads on them? If you look at that with your drone, it'll tell you how many squads are in the proximity of your drone. So that's a good way to find out if people are actually around you. Now, there is a range to the drone and just how far it can be from you, so you can go using your drone around the map and trying to find squads, but it can save you if people do come up behind you and you haven't noticed yet. So always, if you're on your drone, make sure to keep an eye on those banners. Next, we're going to get into Krypto's tactical ability, which is his surveillance drone, and this is the bread and butter of Krypto. If you do want to be a good Krypto, then you obviously have to learn how to use this drone and how to use it properly. First things first, if this drone sees anybody, it's going to be marked. That's his passive ability. So you do want to make sure that you use it in a way where you're going to be able to get all this information, because that's mainly what you are. You are an information-based legend. And one of the worst mistakes I see people do when they are playing Krypto is that whenever they're looting an area, they have their drone in their pocket. Your drone should almost never be in your pocket. It should always be out and about doing something. Now, one of the biggest advices that I can give you guys is when you are looting a certain area or a certain town, you want to make sure that you leave your drone on top of this town. And this is mainly for information. And there are two ways that this information can be gained. One would be that your drone scans people and you'll be able to see them through walls until they get out of line of sight. And this is going to tell you where the enemy team is, and of course this is going to help your team and avoid an ambush. And the second way that this information can be gained is if somebody shoots at your drone. If somebody does decide to shoot your drone, you are going to hear what direction that shot came from and your team can plan accordingly. All in all though, there is no way for you to get ambushed if your drone is above you, so make sure to place that properly and not have your drone in your pocket when you are searching for better loot. Now, if you are trying to ambush somebody, then you might want to have the drone on top of the building if you know where they are, because you want to make sure that you know if they are trying to escape or where they're going. Just remember that this drone makes a lot of noise, however, so if you are trying to be sneaky and get information on a team hoping that they don't notice you, they will most likely hear the drone and they are going to know that somebody is around. So if you do want to plan on being sneaky and going around the map crawling and trying to get an ambush on team, then you want to make sure that you use this drone from a distance or you don't use it at all, because this thing is loud and trust me, people will hear you. Now let's get into the quirks of actually using your drone and mechanics. Now, a lot of people don't know that whenever you throw out your drone, Krypto will stay in the same position that you left him. If you launch the drone while crouching, he will stay crouched, and if you launch it while standing up, then he will stay standing up. So if you do want to drone and try to be as low as possible, make sure that you do crouch and get in a corner before you start droning. Just standing up will increase your chances of getting hit or getting spotted by an enemy team, and that is the last thing you want. Now, if you do ever need to drone in a pinch, there is one way that can actually help you get it a few seconds faster. And that is sliding towards cover and taking out the drone while you are sliding. That way you don't have to run up to cover, crouch, and then whip out the drone, because that's going to take a while. So if you do slide towards cover and pull out the drone while you're sliding, this can save you a second or two, and it just might be enough to help out you and your team, or get that info that you need. Now, another big problem with people that are droning as Krypto is that they tend to go far away from their team, and this is a big no-no. Now, when you are Krypto, you do want to get information, and it might seem like being able to scan your enemies with your drone while you're not in the gunfight itself can actually help your team that is actually fighting. But if you are far away from your team, or your team pulls up too far ahead of you while you are droning and your body stays behind, if they do get into trouble and they do need the help, your drone is not going to be able to help them as much as you think it is. The second your team starts losing the fight and one of them goes down, you're going to want to get off your drone, and then you're going to have to run a good distance just to catch up to that fight. And by the time you get there, you're most likely going to face fully healed enemies that are going to take you out with ease. So if you are droning, try to drone a certain area, and then if you do want to move up, make sure to call your drone back so people won't see it. And then when you get to your new position, you can then drone. Just make sure to stay close to your team, because even though your drone is helpful, the best thing you want to do in a gunfight is leave it up in the air. That way people will get scanned, and help your team with your gun. You shooting at enemies will never be outdone by anything else. That is the main thing that you want to do in a gunfight. and your drone should only be there to support you. You should not be on your drone acting like if that's the only way you can help, because there are obviously better ways. So if you know you're about to get into a gunfight, or you know there are people close, to shoot that drone up in the sky and get ready to fight, and that's obviously the best tip I can give you for combat as Krypto. Now the cool thing about Krypto's drone is that you can actually pull off some high IQ plays if you do know how to use it. A lot of people don't know that Krypto's drone can actually open doors and open up bins, like supply bins, and this can be used to just pull off a bunch of clever tricks on enemies that don't see it coming. For example, if you hide your drone behind a bin and you see an enemy team coming, you can use your drone to open the bin and make it seem like somebody is there. And the enemy team might rush that bin thinking that there's an enemy there, but it'll just be your drone. And eventually they'll hear it, and that'll give you a chance to ambush them. Or if an enemy team is sniping at you and you are inside a building, you can position your drone to open and close a certain door while you go to another location. That way the snipers can think that there's actually somebody there, and they'll focus on that area rather than focusing on you. And this might give you the chance to get a good shot or to flank them. Now, these kind of bait and switches are primarily up to you. It depends on how imaginative you are with this idea. Of course, you can play around, and the smarter you are, the better these strategies are going to be. It just depends on how creative you are. And the last tip I'm going to give you for his tactical ability is that it can actually pick up banners, and a lot of people do not know that. You can pick up your teammate's banner with your drone, and you can have no immediate danger to Krypto himself, and that's an extremely powerful tool that is not mentioned. If there are 3 people on your enemies and they're dead, you can just send in your drone and try to pick up as many of them as possible, and you'll be in no danger as long as you stay hidden with your actual character. And this is crazy good. Also, you can also pick up your teammates if they're in the zone, because the drone takes no damage from the zone because it is a machine. For some reason, lifelines take damage, but I mean, we won't talk about that. But your drone will take no damage in the zone, so you can go and pick up your banners. That way you don't have to waste life, or you don't have to waste meds trying to get them. And if you are close to a revive beacon, you can send in your drone while you stand right next to the beacon. That way you can pick up your homies with your drone, and you can just immediately revive them when you get off of it. And this is really good. I can't wait to see Reddit clips on this, because I know it's going to be incredible the way people are going to save their teammates with this. So this makes Krypto a really good support player, pretty much. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. And also, if you didn't know, if you go up to a gun with your drone can actually pick it up, and you can actually start firing at people. Now we are going to talk about Krypto's ultimate ability, which is Drone EMP. And this ability is pretty good, I think. On paper, it does sound a bit broken, but it's really not. I think it's really balanced. I don't think it's too good like people thought it was going to be, and I thought it was going to be too good, to be honest, but it really isn't. It's really balanced, and you kind of have to be smart to use it, because your drone does not have a lot of life, and if it gets shot once or twice, it's going down. So you do have to be really careful on how you use it, and you kind of have to plan it ahead of time. You can't just throw your drone at an enemy team, because it's most likely going to get shot down. Now this Emp Blast has a few effects on the enemy team, and that is that it does 50 shield damage, only shields, it'll slow them down, and it'll destroy any traps in the immediate vicinity. Now this is extremely strong, and the fact that you can destroy every trap and hurt them while slowing them down makes it an extremely important tool to use before you actually rush somebody. But the number one advice that I can give you for this EMP is that you want to make sure that you tell your team before you're going to push, and you have to make sure that you're close to the team that you're going to push. Now this is the trade-off for Krypto, because he has to be close to the enemy team if he wants to be able to follow this up properly, which means that you have to get on your drone and make yourself vulnerable while you try to set up that EMP. You want to make sure that before you EMP a team, you're just ready to full send it towards them afterwards, and you got to kill them quick, because odds are you're going to get third-partied if people do hear the gunshots. Also, the panic that this EMP causes is pretty good, so you want to make sure that whenever you do push as a team, you kind of want to spread out and hit from different angles. That way you all don't come from the same way. Because even if they are slowed, if you all come from the same way, they only have to look in one direction to kill you all and shoot you all. So you want to have at least 1 or 2 of your teammates come from a different direction, just to make sure that they don't shoot all of you, and take advantage of the fact that their camera is slowed and their character movement is even slower. And this ultimate feels really close to getting hit by a nade, the way you're slowed down and the damage you take. It's pretty much a weaker nade, but it does destroy traps, so I guess that's the upside to that. Now we're going to get into a few quirks and a few extra tips that don't have to do with his abilities, and just give you all a little things I picked up while playing him pretty much. One of the things is that his white jacket outfit is actually a really good camouflage tool. There have been times where I have missed Kryptos because he wears this outfit, and it blends in so well with the background of this new map that it's honestly hard to see him sometimes. So if you do want to lower your chances of getting seen, this might be the outfit that you want to run with. Also, if you have fought against the Crypto, you might have noticed that he's actually really small and really hard to hit because the animations on his movement is actually kind of awkward, kind of like Watson. Watson has really clever animations whenever she moves left to right in sharp manners. It's really hard to hit her because her hips move and her legs move, and she just becomes really slippery. And I feel like Crypto's even better at this because he keeps his hands in his pocket. It's really hard to. He doesn't really telegraph what he's about to do next, so he's actually really hard to hit in my opinion. So if you do want to play Crypto and you do want to get better at dodging bullets, make sure you learn how to strafe left to right in sharp ways, and this might improve your chances of actually winning gunfights because you just might not get hit. And this is especially good in the beginning of the game whenever you might not have a gun right after landing because he does have his hands in his pocket whenever he doesn't have a gun in his hand, and that makes him even harder to hit. So just keep that in mind when you are trying to master this character. Now, the main conclusion that I want to come up with Crypto is that he is a heavy support character and he should be played by the mastermind of the group pretty much. Crypto is going to be useless if you aren't talking to your team, and if you're staying quiet, then there's no reason why you should play him because he's not really going to help at all. Crypto should be played by the person in the group that makes great callouts and is going to be in charge of where the team is headed because you're going to get a vantage point with that drone that no other legend has ever had. You're going to be able to see things that other legends have never seen, and it's going to be to no immediate danger to you. This makes them an excellent shot caller, and you can pretty much plan which way you're going to attack and which direction you're going to go since you can see the map almost entirely. And this drone can go up pretty high, so you can get a pretty good vantage point on this. And you want to make sure that the person that is using this is willing to give you callouts and knows what they're doing pretty much. And yeah, guys, that is pretty much my Crypto guide. I hope you all enjoyed and I hope you all learned something. If you do have any tips that I might have missed, make sure to leave that in the comments below because, of course, we are all trying to get better. And anyways, I hope you all enjoy the video. If you guys want me to cover something, like I said before, make sure to leave that in the comments below as well. And I do stream almost every day, so I will leave my Twitch down below. That way you all can check it out and come and get to know me live. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a great day, make good choices, and I will see you all in the next one.
Got one.
All right.
Yeah, dude. Holy shit. Dog, if we didn't win that game, I'd be a little sad.
Yeah, that would have been a little depressing.
That was a GG. Well.
You are the Apex champions.
Man, that was a fucking hard-ass fuck game. What the fuck?